Welcome to another St. Pete by Night production. The following is rated for mature audiences and may contain graphic themes that will be distressing to some viewers. As always, we recommend you ensure the safety and well-being of yourself and those around you at all times. Viewer discretion is advised.
Good evening and welcome to the St. Pete by Night Entertainment Network. St. Petersburg by Night is an online World of Darkness role-playing community originated in St. Petersburg, Florida, but now spreading to the world at large. My name is Kent, also known as Mishikent on all social media, and I will be your storyteller tonight. And it's Sunday night, and you know what that means. It's time for Red Tide Rising, our Vampire the Masquerade 5th edition chronicle set in the city of Tampa, Florida, as a part of the larger Tampa-verse, where a coterie of young anarch kindred attempt to carve out a piece of the land for themselves, all in the service of their benefactor, Solomon Creed. But before we get to all of that, have you signed up for a Ko-fi membership yet? Because if you haven't, for as low as $5 a month, you can truly support this program, this community, this channel. We really appreciate your efforts. And you get all this back behind the scenes content and all these extras and early announcements and just so much to be had for as low as $5 a month. So follow that link down below and sign up to be a Ko-fi member. And while you're clicking on links, might as well go follow St. Pete by Night on all of that social media you see down below, because you can stay up to date on all things St. Pete by Night with your Ko-fi membership and all of those social media links. That all being said, let's get to talking about why we're here, Red Tide Rising. And it would take a pretty incredible cast to make this story possible. So let's go ahead and introduce that cast now. Players, go ahead and introduce yourselves, if you please.
Good evening, my name is Garrett, and I play August, a thin blood in way over his head.
Howdy, I'm Ace. Snooping on my Spotify is like Russian roulette, and unfortunately Caramel Dancing is the softest bullet I have, and I play Beau Walker, a Toreador.
Hi, I'm Scott, and I play Jeremiah the Malkavian, who is doing HR management this week.
And hello, I'm Freya, and I play Valentina, a ghoul who's a bit confused on what's going on right now.
That introduction was incredible. I don't know what to say. There's so much that I have to unpack about all that, but I don't have the time to do that because I got to get our audience caught up as to where we're at now after last week's events. Last week we saw the coterie, not in full because our dear Freya was feeling under the weather, but they're back today, and I'm so excited that they are back. But the coterie went and delivered the acquired vessels to Solomon, and it turns out that they had done a little bit of extra credit work, getting, I believe, the total of 15 vessels for the purposes when they were only needed to get 8. So it ended up working out in their favor and winning a little bit of favor from Solomon, where August also pushed to have perhaps a little bit of extra assistance in the process to get a little more shine from their benefactor. After that, Beau. Beau went to visit the Tzimisce elder known as Vesper to see if there was anything that they could do to get the blood bond broken. And it just so happens Vesper was feeling extremely magnanimous and was able to perform a certain process or ritual or very ancient technique known as the Vauldery with the assistance of 3 other robed and hidden individuals to help break Beau's blood bond. But it did come with, well, I guess more than one price, as now Beau is indebted to Vesper and will do whatever is required when it is called upon. Then we saw Jeremiah and August play a game of chess, but it wasn't just physical chess. There was a little bit of political, social chess going on as well, as they discussed the situation as it stands with the coterie, their ambitions for the future, and much more. If you haven't watched that episode, you should go back and watch it because it is a fascinating conversation. And then we saw Beau and Jeremiah head to the shooting range where they were shooting more than just their shot, if you know what I mean, at that particular conversation. But it was a opportunity for them to bond, to grow closer, and could help strengthen the overall core of the coterie. But it also has the potential for drama. So we will just have to see how that develops going forward. But let's start with our first scene of the evening, where Jeremiah catches up with Valentina and they discuss what's going on in this crazy world of darkness and where they are headed from here. It's after closing time at the Waiting Owl once again, where we find Valentina and Jeremiah staying a little bit after close to have a conversation. The customers have filed out. Ricky is off by the bar doing the last minute cleanup to get things ready for the following day and also to make sure everything is in its proper place. But the two of you are sat at one of the round circular wooden tables in the middle of the floor space, just in front of the stage, prepared to speak. Now, Jeremiah, you've been checking in with each of your coterie mates individually, getting a sense of where their head is at, how they're feeling about the current state of things, especially with the knowledge of Beau's blood bond issues and all of the risks that poses. But now it's time to check in with your ghoul companion. And Valentina, you have had a lot going on with an extra guest staying with you at the coterie base as of late, and apparently a suspicious delivery having been dropped off that the rest of your coterie handled last time, but you have yet to get the details on. So with all that in mind, the scene is yours.
So I think the pretense of this, because Jeremiah likes to cover things in a pretense every now and then, is that we're going over the books for the bar.
Okay.
And we've been doing that for the past probably 10 minutes. It's funny because Jeremiah doesn't really have a head for numbers like that. But he says, yeah, things got a little complicated while you were attending to your business.
Yeah, exactly happened?
All right, so we dropped off the goods with Solomon. Very pleased. Also let him know that that deal we made with that Skeeter guy. I kind of finalized it, and it turns out we're covered the same way that the cam is in here in the domain, Sulphur Springs as a whole. So they're not going to come harassing us while we're here, as long as things don't get too messy or loud or masquerade breaky.
Well, at least that's good.
Yeah, no, it's good. I actually really had a great conversation with Skeeter. He's a real interesting guy, young. I think I'm not sure exactly what's going on with him. I think he's rat shifter. There's a bunch of rats around, so that I don't know. But I think they're kind of like on the low end of things over in what they call it, Changing Breeds Town.
All right. So,
But yeah, he talked to the wolves, and I told Solomon that, so he's probably pleased and or threatened by us right now. When we came back, we were getting tailed by this florist van, which, if that is Talia's work, then God, they're so cliche. And there was like a wreath on the back door of the bar. Wilted roses.
all right.
Again, cliche.
Just a bit.
Yeah, exactly. The jury's still out on whether that was actually her or someone else messing with us. We burned it, and it burned a little weird, according to August and Beau. You'll have to get the details with them. That kind of shit right over my head.
Gotcha.
But yeah, that's basically what you missed.
Well, I mean, good thing that none of us died, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Again,
That kind of dovetails into what I really kind of wanted to talk to you about.
Yeah.
So I know we've had this conversation before, but I just wanted to revisit it since stuff is getting a little crazy. You want to be turned, right? You want to become one of us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. I mean, if that's what you want, then that's what you want. I do want to make sure you know what you're getting into as best you can before we start taking like more concrete steps for it.
I have a pretty good idea.
I know, but
So, what do you think?
lose the sun. So maybe start thinking up like a Disney trip or something to have a really good day before it happens. Have a good meal. I heard the restaurants are great now. Get laid. That's usually a good checkbox. I didn't get the chance. I didn't have a choice in when it happened to me. So these are the things that I would want to have done.
Thank
and
you. I get what you're saying. It's okay. I know it's one hell of a change.
Yeah.
I'm not a stranger to the loss of the simple things.
I know, but you still have a beating heart and a living mind that can help you process those things in a semi-functional and healthy way. That changes. You gotta outsource your emotions when you change. You gotta get it through the blood. I'm just saying it's not all it's cracked up to be. Yeah, you technically live forever, and yeah, you've got all this power, but you lose a lot. Just saying, bucket list. I can't imagine it won't help. It'll give you some things to remember, to cling to.
Right now, the only thing on my bucket list is getting rid of Athame.
I get it. But you know what they say about revenge? You gotta dig 2 graves.
Yeah. And I'm at peace with that.
Yeah, but I'm not. I like you. I like having you around. You're good for morale. And if we're gonna do that, if we're gonna go forward on that plan, then I would like you to be still around at the end of it. Anyway, that's a whole other conversation.
Yeah, it is. We won't know how I'll change after the fact, but to be quite honest, I'm not the biggest fan of the constant anxiety of knowing that I am not strong enough to deal with her. And
Well, getting turned is only going to help you so much with that. I mean, she's always going to be older than you. She's always going to have more time on you.
but there's a way around that technically. Finding an older generation, right?
Kind of. You still have to develop your skills. It took me a couple years to get where I am at right now with the powers that I have, and I only have a couple tricks up my sleeve. Now, I don't know everything about her, but from what I know, her and me are about the same age. So it's not an insurmountable goal. It's not an insurmountable. But you got to understand something is that if we go with that route, if we find you someone who's like old and powerful, yeah, you're going to come with a little bit more juice in you, but that comes at a cost. I know some of them. I mean, I know it takes a little bit more, maybe not a little bit more, maybe a good deal more to keep them fed. The hunger is worse for that potent blood. I hear that like some of them can't even, if animal blood does it for them all, it does it for like this much. Bag blood, not really an option for some of them. Some of them, human only. And our tattoo artist friend, unless that's just a preference of his, gotta feed on us. And that's a pain in the ass. You have to get plucky young anarchs to do your DoorDash for you. I can't imagine that's cheap.
Jeremiah, roll me an intelligence and occult, if you would. You've been around vampiric society for a while now, and you've encountered a variety of kindred of varying ages.
2 successes.
I would say with 2 successes, you probably have a pretty solid idea of how blood potency works.
Yeah.
That the older you get, the stronger you get. It's not even a preference. There's a certain point where human blood just doesn't do anything for you anymore. It just wears off. You need something stronger. So for an older kindred, yeah, it's not even a preference. It's a need.
Yeah. And so if you start up there, that means eventually, sooner than it will for me. I don't know if I'll ever get to that point. I'm 12th, by the way, if you're ever curious. I'm of the 12th generation. So I don't think I'll ever get to that point. But so it's going to be harder. If you got to do more, if you've got to take more, it's going to increase the risk that you're going to kill somebody. And if that weren't bad, stronger your blood, the stronger that the curse that comes with it will affect you. I just want to make sure you know what you're getting into. And I sure as shit don't want you to go to Vesper.
I'm not gonna lie, actually getting to talk to that man was terrifying.
Yeah, elders don't. Like, if we need to find you an Ancilla, I know some older anarchs. I might be able to get someone if that's something you're really all about. But once again, there's drawbacks. There's give and take.
Well, I get what you're saying, and I know that it is a lot of losing for what you think is not a lot of gain.
I'm not discounting the game. I'm trying to give you an accurate picture.
I hear you, and I appreciate you and your concern. And I would like your help on finding somebody that is older, maybe a little less unhinged than Vesper.
I was that word unhinged. I was thinking you might have been talking about me.
You unhinged? Never. Goodness.
Regardless, I wouldn't put the curse of Malkav on you. That's not that. Let's take that off the table. It's a bad. I manage it as best I can, but I have bad nights. Right.
Jeremiah, go ahead.
I can start looking at that. I gotta be honest with you. This thing with Beau comes first, though. That's a big problem.
It is. And yet again, possibly helping me get to that position might make it a lot easier to get rid of, you know.
Maybe we can two birds, one stone. Maybe one of my friends, when they come in, we might be able to talk to one of them. I don't exactly know if any of them meet your criteria. Another thing to think of is, like I said, that curse. There are some amongst us, full kindred, not the thin-blooded ones, who have a different kind of curse. The Katif. They don't necessarily have a double whammy of, the undead and then some ancient monsters' predilections breathing down their neck. There's
All
a
right.
social problem with that. A lot of people look down on them. Not as much as the Thin Bloods, but a lot of people do. Less so in the Anarchs. We tend to not give a shit about that. Cam certainly does. Older vampires certainly do. But you don't have that double whammy to deal with.
Sounds like an interesting idea.
I'm pretty sure that if a Katif makes someone, they're a Katif. Pretty sure that's how that works.
Gotcha.
Do you have any thoughts about what clan, if you don't want to go Katif route?
Honestly, I have a little bit of experience with some of the stuff Lasombra can do. But, spooky, scary shadows and all. That's
all
my
I'm going to say
personal
about
preference.
that is there's probably a reason Atheme is the way she is. I don't know if having raw darkness running through your veins is that reason, but
Seeing some of the stuff that she could do with that, the darkness.
Yeah, horrifying. I've seen it.
Yeah.
Horrifying.
I think that would be useful in trying to deal with her personally. But
She's being awful flippant about this entire process, really disregarding the loss, saying that she gets it, that she understands, but she's also just power hungry, it seems, the way she's talking. Does she truly understand what it is to lose your soul? Lose everything that made you human? And to touch that darkness, would you just be putting another Athame into the world? And what kind of problems would that lead you towards? Plus, the way she talks about Vesper and how terrifying he is, yeah, there was definitely genuine fear in it, but maybe also a little bit of envy. Does she really know what she's getting into, what she's signing up for? How could she? Ghouls, they barely scratch the surface of kindred life or society. They are a byproduct of what it is to be kindred. How could she possibly grasp all that?
She doesn't. That's the long and the short of it. She doesn't. So that's why I'm trying to get it through her head.
Is she listening?
I hope so.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little frustrated.
I get it.
Because you're not the only one in the coterie who's asked me these questions. And I know that you all, whether you realize it or not, are probably just talking to me this way because I am not in the position you are.
Yeah. I didn't have a choice. I don't know about the other two. I doubt they did. If you're gonna walk into this, you should walk into it with your eyes open, as much information as you can.
I agree. It's one of the reasons why I would like to tag along with you a little bit more on these diplomatic type of conversations you have with people.
Yeah, I've been working on a couple of that. There's this Toreador Ventru, both barons in their own rights, to whatever degree that stands. And then there's an independent over in St. Pete, my clan. I am hesitant to take anyone along with that, just to let you know. My clan is eccentric and erratic. But yeah, we can have you come along, get your feet a little bit more wet.
Good.
So, all right, I've talked a lot. Do you have any questions? Anything that doesn't make sense? Something that you've been trying to put your head together on about all this?
Honestly, when it comes down to the Kindred business stuff, it's not unknown to me. Everything that, kind of needs to get done most of the time. But I don't know. This is starting to feel more frustrating.
Of course it's frustrating. You have a bunch of clucking mother hens constantly telling you what you should do, what you should think, what you should feel, all the things you need to check off or all the things you need to do. This isn't your first rodeo. You've been exposed to this life for a while now, and it's been just within your grasp constantly. It almost feels like they're toying with you, like holding what you want in front of you and then jerking it away with each one of these conversations, deciding for you whether you're ready, whether you're in your right mind, whether you're intelligent enough or emotionally stable enough or ready. You're ready. You've been ready. Athame teased you with the idea of the embrace. That's why you hate her, among many other reasons. It's funny, they try to say the difference of the Anarchs from the Kindred in the Camarilla, that you are more free and have more respect in this situation. Is that just a mask of its own? Because any one of them could have embraced you this entire time, but they're still keeping you on the hook, just like the others. So yeah, it's frustrating. That's a word for it, and it's probably the best word you can think of at the moment. Maddening could be another.
Think we need to focus on fixing what we have currently. I hate to say it, but it's I don't know. I feel like there's so much more happening around us than anywhere near our inclinations, and I'm getting hate to say it, I feel like I'm getting paranoid.
Look, just because you're paranoid doesn't mean they're not after you. I think that's actually a pretty healthy perspective. If you don't mind me asking, and this is a way more personal question than I tend to ask, how long has it been since you got into this life? How old are you actually? Since the blood keeps you pretty preserved.
I'm 35. It's been about 10 years.
Okay. 42. So there is another option. I know you're not going to take it, but I want to put it on the table. We can get you, wean you off of this thing, off of this blood. We can move away from all of this.
I can't do that. That is an impossibility. That I can't even entertain the idea of that. No, I cannot entertain the idea of that. Athame's fucking crazy. And some of the things that she would do to torture me anytime I kind of stepped a little bit out of line, no. I need to be able to have the power and the security to be able to protect my abuela. This bar. Fuck. Even you guys, if it comes down to it, she is so incredibly cruel.
Is that rationale talking, or is that the addiction?
Think a little bit of column A and B there on that one.
He'll lean forward a little bit suddenly. See, I hear I hear it in your voice. I get it. That's not an option. But it is. It's something that could happen. You could run, take your abuela, get out of the country.
There's no running from somebody like that. They're just find a way to reach you.
Jeremiah, you know, stepping into this life doesn't provide more security or safety. It just brings more risk, more danger. Not just from the outside, not just from the Kindred Society, the other unknowns about this world, but you become the danger to the people you love. Because that hunger will always win. And when you're around loved ones, when you're around family, the beast doesn't know any different. It doesn't care. The way she's talking, that desperation, yeah, maybe there's something there to empathize with. But is it ignorance as well? Not truly understanding the cost, not truly understanding all of those petty or pesky side effects that come with the change. Her reasons may be pure, they may also be very vastly uninformed.
Val, I'm going to put this on the table once. You want it? I'll give it to you right now.
It's so tempting.
You'd be 13th generation. I don't think you'd be in any danger of being a thin blood at that point. I know plenty of 13th generation kindred. You'd have the curse of the moon on you, and that'll twist your head around. Probably get up to about me, Nathame's level. Not too terribly long. Like I said, I hear it in your voice. I hear how desperately you want it. And I understand how leaving this all behind is something you can't think about. And I don't want to deny you this. So it's on the table. Tonight only. One night only. Come one, come all. Well, no. Come you. Only you.
13th generation? Might as well just have August embrace you. It's barely a half step above that. That's literally exchanging one bottom rung for another. I mean, yeah, you'd be on the ladder, but how much of an improvement is that over what you are now? The lowest of the low. Bottom feeder. Vesper? Maybe you'd even be in the single digits. Maybe you'd be the most powerful kindred in this coterie from birth. It's an offer, but it's a piteous offer. Are you that desperate? He's offering you what you want right now, right here. No more waiting, no more searching. But it is the Malkavians. And it is the bottom rung. No more shadow play, no more fun, super La Sombra powers. Just madness. All that comes with it. Choice
No.
is yours, but is it the right one?
No. Not because I don't want it. I don't want it to be a friend. I don't. I know I'd be safer, but I it feels almost out of pity. And yes, I know you could hear it in my voice, and I do want to become Kindred, but no. This is pity. You're offering me this out of pity, and come on. I thought you had a little bit more respect for me than that.
I do now. Like I said, I'm going to help you do this. I'm going to help you get what you want here. But if you had jumped at that, then I would have given it to you. But the fact that you had the restraint. All right, let's table it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna, like I said, when my buddies get in town, I'll ask them, see what they have to say, see if they have any ideas, if any of them are up for it. We'll do it when we have the means to do so. Okay.
All right.
Now, I need to ask you about August.
What about August?
I know that he made a deal with Vesper. He told me as such. And I'm pretty sure you were there when he did it, based off some comments he made last time we were all together.
Yeah, and?
You know how August is. He's not exactly the straightest of shooter. He thinks he has it handled, whatever it is. I think that's a load of shit.
Handled?
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
Goodness.
So, look, I know I'm asking you to snitch. And,
I'm not gonna do that. But I think you can guess what I think on the matter just by the laugh. Unfortunately, I wouldn't. No, I would not tell anybody else's business, even the coterie within coterie. That's not who I am. No.
okay.
I'm sorry, and whatnot, but you know how I reached out to you for help?
Yeah.
And August was there too. And that is the only thing I will say.
Okay.
So I cannot betray his trust like that.
Be a lot cooler if you did. I'm joking for the most part, but I am worried about it. I'm worried
It's-
about whatever the hell. I worry that that thing's going to get its claws into everything it touches, including all of our business. Elders are terrifying.
Yep.
It's like, somebody give me the number of the beckoning so I can tell them that it missed one.
Yeah. I wish that was something we could do.
Yeah. Just, if it becomes a problem and you're aware of it, if it becomes like an active threat, I hope you'll give us a heads up.
If it becomes an active threat, I will be informing August, and I'm going to inform everybody else. It's not going to be a blindside.
Okay. That's reasonable.
All right. Well, I think I'll finish the books up tomorrow. All right.
Good. I failed math, so
Yeah, you not very helpful there. I appreciate it, but leave the finances to me, please.
okay.
As the two of you part ways for the evening, what are your thoughts after this conversation with one another? Jeremiah, we'll start with you, then Valentina.
He really hates having to be this guy. To because he knows how he come off in that discussion. He knows just another guy who thinks he knows everything and, wants to, tick all the boxes, and he doesn't like being that guy, but he's so worried about her. And he wants to make this as an easy transition as it can be. But that is a fantasy. It's the biggest lie ever told, that this can be anything like easy. It's going to be a shit show, no matter how you slice it. And he's going to lose his friend. He's going to gain another leech, another vampire. And there's a part of him that thinks that really sucks.
One of the beauties of having Valentina around is, in a way, she's a representation of humanity, representation of life and all that comes with it, all the things that you lost, all the things that were taken from you, as you didn't have a choice. She does. She has a choice. Is it the right one? Because ruthlessness, vengeance, those are really good driving motivations, but more often than not, they're the motivation that leads to a huge mistake. And not to be overlooked, an interesting line was drawn in the sand. She prefers to keep August's confidence than yours. Whereas just a couple of days ago, they were all jumping all over Beau for making bad choices, for keeping secrets, for all the things that she did. but they're doing the exact same thing. Hypocrisy. That's one of the biggest crimes of all, especially when it comes to matters like this.
And he can't help but also think that when bringing up Athame, there's things that she doesn't know about him and her. He is sure as hell not going to tell her. Not tonight, for sure.
Valentina, your thoughts?
Val is so annoyed because the conversation definitely did feel like she was being treated like a toddler. At least within her own eyes, and honestly, there was a moment where she second-guessed everything. Just the idea of like, well, when is the chance for me to become something with a little bit more power gonna pop and present itself again? And then everything else kind of came flooding in with like, no, not somebody that I have a strong connection with. I don't want them to be somebody that can hold stuff over me.
What exactly do you think a sire is? A strong connection that holds things over you.
Mm-hmm. At least then it will hurt less when the eventuality that she'll need to break away.
Why did you keep August's secret?
Though Valentina sees August as kind of an asshole, they worked together and they got out of one of the worst things for her. So
you feel indebted?
Yeah.
Maybe like he's holding something over you?
No, not like it's being held over, but like they've been through the trenches, quote unquote.
We now transition to our next scene. To survive as a thin blood, to be made into a thin blood, is one of the most disadvantageous positions you can be in. The cards are stacked against you. Not as powerful, not as influential. You have a lot more weaknesses. You're far more fragile. But you're the right kind of person. You have the wits and the intelligence. Those weaknesses can be turned into advantages. Because when you're so low down the ladder, those higher up are more likely to overlook you, to underestimate. However, it's not a bad survival plan to cozy up to stronger kindred, more influential kindred. At the very least, you'll get an inside track as to what's going on. At best, maybe you get a meat shield. Someone to take a lot of the heat off of you, to provide you with opportunities you wouldn't have on your own. August, what was your motivation for choosing to offer further service to Solomon, who already has you in service, so to speak, who already has an arrangement with you? Why would you further solidify that connection?
And I'll use a generous term here, deal that he had with Solomon has run dry. And from August's perspective, it's been broken. His deal was secrecy, and Solomon broke that. Now, it was to his own coterie mate, but something needs to happen. And he's decided for himself that we best reestablish something new. A relationship where he is once again useful.
So as you arrive at the meeting place that Solomon has given you, it's a plasma donation center. A place that is a great asset to have within your domain, within your territory, and Solomon has one. Being in the blood trade, you gotta know exactly what you're dealing with, because a lot can be transmitted through blood. Now, most of it can be shrugged off by most kindred, but there are some things, a few things, that if passed along could be very, very problematic. Because while the kindred may not feel the effects of whatever it is they ingest necessarily, their future prey might. And before you know it, you have an outbreak within your domain. Before you know it, the cattle are becoming fewer and fewer. That's negligence. That's recklessness. And Solomon is anything but reckless. So as you arrive at the Plasma Donation Center, a small shop, one of many laboratories throughout the area, throughout Tampa, you see that it's clearly closed after hours, but you were given instructions to go around back, and as soon as you do, you see the luxury sedan parked there that belongs to Solomon, usually driven by Doberman. You see that there's a light over the back door, which is next to a delivery bay. As you walk up and try the handle on the door, it's unlocked. It's open. It's waiting for you. And as you enter into the facility, you see Solomon, Doberman, a young woman in a lab coat who looks like they might be an employee of the facility, but obviously under or connected to the organization in some capacity based off of the free use of the facility. And then there's one other individual present. A bookish looking young woman who has a notepad and is busy jotting down notes feverishly, excitedly, as they're looking on at the events that are happening. But upon making eye contact with you, they quickly avert their gaze back down to the notepad that they busily scratch away on. Solomon offers a almost serpentine smile to you as he approaches. Hello, August. Good to see you. You ready to do some hard work to really flex those muscles of yours?
Good evening to you as well. And of course, always.
Good, good. Well, we have the laboratory here at our disposal. I've taken a few samples from our stock, and I just want to make sure everything's on the up and up. So feel free to grab a microscope, a computer, and get to work. Let me know what you find if anything interesting pops up.
Seems there's a few others here that I haven't met before. Would
Yes.
you mind?
Well, I suppose it's only proper, only polite. First, let me introduce you to Rachel. She works here at the facility, a sweet young thing. Has given us access to everything we need and has been quite an asset throughout this process. And then, let me introduce you to Avery Lynn, another one of my friends. Studious type. Avery looks up from the notepad that they've been scratching on and gives a little, almost like shy salute before going back to the writing. And of course, you know Doberman.
Of course, Doberman.
He just gives you a curt nod in response.
If nothing, he's consistent. So far, I assume everything is to your liking.
So far, so good, but you brought me more vessels than I expected, so I have quite a lot to look through.
That's why I'm here, isn't it? Among other things, but start with this.
Well, that's a question, isn't it? Why are you here? We already have a pretty good working arrangement.
Do we?
You looking for extra credit? I don't know,
I
do
appreciate... Well, and he'll place his sort of laptop container. It's old leather, looks to be refurbished, maybe in the process of doing so, and he'll begin unpacking some things, some gloves, other implements, next to, as he stated, some sort of computer interface and tools for analysis. And he'll say, well, and please correct me at any point if I misspeak, but we did have an arrangement. Got into a bit of a bind, you helped me out of it, and enough that is not a secret of any kind. You do it all the time for individuals you deem worthy enough to receive your help, but part of that, and he'll look to the people in the room, was just an inkling of secrecy, was it not?
Yes.
Well, there we have it. The root of the problem here. I wouldn't say problem. I was hasty. The situation that we find ourselves in.
Indeed. So, Jeremiah told you.
Not at first, but we came around to it.
Well, that's interesting, isn't it? But that's not your problem to deal with now, that's mine. See, I thought I was strategizing, but apparently I was gossiping like a schoolgirl. Good to know the
Apparently.
difference in these things.
You are wise. Yes, it is good to know.
Now, my question is, how much do they know about what you're up to? I had my nice chat with Vesper.
Oh, good. I'm glad you finally had that conversation. From what I understood of our first meeting, it has a lot of benefit, isn't to sway in your direction. I think we both
Does.
can assume, well, to a point, well, not really what they want, but what you want from the relationship. Now that's a bit more nuanced, isn't it?
What I want from the relationship is security. I want to have friends, business associates. See, there's a dependency on certain things in this area, a shortage, if you will. And to have someone like that with a dire need who can come to you to have that need satiated is to have a, albeit weak, alliance that works in your favor. So you don't want to be on the opposite side of someone like that. I feel like you're getting the gist of that very quickly.
In this, we are aligned.
True. But I offer him a product, not my soul.
I believe we're speaking of the same product. Just the mannerisms in which it would be delivered is a bit different. Now, unfortunately, and I say this with all due respect, it isn't really your business. Now, it may, in your opinion, be your problem, but you and I both know getting in between that would be a mistake.
Oh, I have no intention to get in between that, but you are living in my domain.
Yes, sir.
So what you do does affect me. And make no mistake about it, I am going to find out one way or another whatever dealings you're up to. Now, if you want the freedom to go do whatever you want with no responsibility, you can find another place to live. But if you're going to be in my domain, you're going to respect that whatever is your business is my business. Especially when it comes to making deals with Zemitzi. My clients. Are we clear?
Oh, Crystal, of course.
I get that there's a certain holier than thou, better than thou energy that is diluted in your blood somewhere. But you're not better than me, August.
Well, I thought I was better than you. I wouldn't be here assisting you, if we'll put it that way. If I thought I was better than you, I wouldn't be here having this conversation.
No, you wouldn't. Very well. If we need to renegotiate the terms of our agreement, let's do so. You're right. I shouldn't have told him. I thought, based off of the things that he was saying, the ways he was going to better the movement, that he needed all of the information, but perhaps a little bit more discretion is better off. So, my first question would be, do you even wish to stay in my employ? You don't have anything holding over you now. You can go if you wish.
I don't think that's best for either of us.
Be honest, I'd be fine either way.
I don't doubt it.
So what is it that you want?
Well, you know, that's really one of the first times someone's asked that and maybe even meant it. Maybe.
I'm a businessman, August. I can do business, and it can be beneficial.
Well, you've seen in the past what I have to offer, but things have changed just the smallest bit. So, allow me this evening to further show you what I am capable of and how I can be of further use to this ever-growing blood trade and its necessity, as you have put it, not by word, but by mannerism. How useful to that end I can be, and how ingrained I am in the coterie that you've invested as a businessman. Much currency, both physical and not, into.
Of
There's
course.
a reason that it came out from Jeremiah. There's a reason he didn't keep it to himself. Now I'd like to think it's trust. It's a bit of A, bit of B. But not only is that a relationship present, I would like it to be present between us as well. Now, whether you like it or not, or whether you believe it or not, my apologies, I do want to be honest with you, Solomon, and I believe you can do the same with me as much as anyone can.
It's the best policy.
There's a bit of hostility between us. I would like it to be business. But the thing with business is when an asset is no longer expendable, it's nothing. It's thin air. So yes, a continued relationship is what I would like between you and me, personally.
Well, then, as a show of good faith, let me offer you a bit of advice. However ingratiated or embedded you think you are as someone who's been a part of many coteries in my time, don't take that for granted. There's always the bigger, better deal. And if it means sacrificing one of your own to get it, and I think you're very, very comfortable with the idea of sacrificing others, they'll do it, even if it's under duress. Loyalty is a currency here. And if that currency is more valuable in someone else's hands, they'd be a fool not to take it. But your loyalty does have value to me. See, I don't think you're the apocalypse, August. I don't believe any of that propaganda. I think you're evolution. The next phase of Kindred. And I want to stay ahead of the curve. I'm a modern Kindred. I accept change. Part of what sets the Anarchs apart from the Cam, but it sets me even apart from the Anarchs. And this barony, if and when it should become one, is going to be one that embraces change, embraces evolution, and uses it for security. So, show me what you can do. Show me just how valuable you are, and maybe we can discuss furthering your goals and your ambitions. Because while it may look like I'm only in this for myself, and in some ways I am, we all should be if we wish to survive these nights, I'm also all about building a power base that benefits all within my barony and all who show me that currency of loyalty. Now, what you and Vesper have, that's going to come back to get you at some point, I'm sure. But for now, maybe we can prolong together when that will happen.
And there it is. Never ceases to amaze me. Solomon, Let me pay the compliment that you are one interesting individual, and that is in no small part due to your inclinations. And you're right. You picked me out in a light that I can't help but enjoy, at least for the time. So, yes, security for all those involved. Usefulness to a street.
I have to assume he gave me that information for some divisive purpose. Whether it was to make me distrust you or to turn us against one another, or just because he's bored. But I'm not going to be played. Not by him, not by you, not by anyone in your coterie. I am the player, not the piece. And I think you're like-minded in that. Because while others might view you as just an asset or an inconvenience, I see that fire in your eye of somebody who wants more. For themselves, for their kind. Why not aspire to that? Why not indulge that? That's my philosophy, at least. So, you have what you need. If there's anything else you need, feel free to ask the assistants here. They can bring you more samples or chemicals. I want this to work for both of us. You get me?
Yes, sir. And he'll take a few steps forward and he'll offer his hand.
Solomon offers out his hand in return and gives you a firm handshake and a smile. Good. And like I said, let them know what you need. It'll be provided. And I think this can be a very good business relationship.
Couldn't agree more.
Speaking of business relationship, I have a job for you. You and the ghoul. Consider it a further test of loyalty. More for her than you. We have a new client. One who needs a very, very important delivery. Not like the last one, so don't worry, you're not going to want a piece of this. They have very particular tastes. And he walks over to a cabinet that has a heavy metal door. And as he pulls open the cabinet, a burst of cold air almost hisses out. And then he grabs onto a handle and pulls out a long tray. And on the tray, or the slab rather, lies the dead body of a 30s-something man with a shaggy blonde hair. You recognize them as one of the prisoners from the bus. But here they lie dead on the slab. We're going to have this all boxed up for you. And you're going to take it to the Hikata. Another beneficial business relationship in the area, one that I'm hoping to foster. The reason I give it to both of you, and only both of you? Well, partially, is now I have concerns about Jeremiah that you've informed me of. And Beau's been busy,
To say the least.
to say the least. I need people I can truly trust. And based off of what you've been willing to discuss with me, I think you could be it. And the ghoul? Well, consider her security for your purposes for this mission. And also, I want to see just how ambitious she truly is.
Let me, in the sake of free information, tell you something that you probably already knew. Their motivation is singular, but not uncomplicated.
I think their motivation is a lot more complicated than they give it credit. You see, Athame's leveled up recently.
By the usual means, I assume.
You could call it that.
It's the only way one of you, truly does it in a short manner when time is of the essence.
Let's not be crude, August. One of us. For I consider you kindred. I have that much respect for you. But yes, she went outside of traditional Camarilla expectations. And she has grown. Let's put it that way. So it's not as simple as it may seem. For your goodwill of sharing me this information, I figure I should do the same. To prepare you should you cross paths with her. Because she is in the city. I know that much. And she is building a power base. Preparing. For what? I couldn't say for certain, but it must be pretty big to do what she did.
In my short time in the pristine hallways, I learned very few things. But the things I did learn have stuck with me. And did this certain La Sombra come in through the proper channels? Or was this something internal?
Nothing about the La Sombra is proper. They may dot their I's and cross their T's, sure. But it's always sneaky. She's here. She's recognized by the prince, by the cam. But make no mistake, what it is she's doing is anything but proper. I'm certain of that. Maybe it's my paranoia speaking.
I think it's well placed. The connection they have with this coterie, though it may be with a single individual as far as I'm concerned, is not exactly an easy one to reconcile with the recent actions of these knights. Paranoia is useful.
Any clan that's willing to tuck tail and change sides at the drop of a hat like they did can't be trusted. And the cam are foolish for trying. This is why I prefer to stay detached, as does my family. It's a lot cleaner that way. Very good. Well, get to work, and when you're done, you do well enough on this and the task I've given you, I may have a surprise for you.
How interesting.
Yes.
And yes, you will be made of any shortcomings or interesting things beyond the normal of anything I find here, if I am to find anything.
As a bit more incentive to push your efforts the next step further, let's just say something fell off a pyramid recently and I acquired it.
Little falls off that old thing, but the cracks have begun to show in recent nights. Wouldn't you agree?
A lot more has fallen off since Vienna. But yes, the cracks are showing, and I seek to take advantage of them with your help. All right, if there's nothing else, I'll let you get to it. You make the delivery for me with the ghoul, I'll have your treat waiting for you.
Of course. And as always, pleasure doing business with you, Solomon.
And you. With that, he gives you a nod of his head and a smile before he starts heading towards the door that you had entered through, Doberman giving another curt nod before falling in step with them, leaving just you, Avery, and the lab assistant. Avery mutters to themselves, "Always the darkness, always the shadow," as they continue to scratch on the pad.
Anything interesting over there?
Huh? Oh, they hold up the notepad and you see what they've drawn is a hangman stick figure, but upside down.
Quite the artist.
They get a very somber look on their face. You don't have to patronize me.
Well, wasn't exactly patronizing you, but I see your meaning. Or at least I think I do. And there's art in that, no?
Okay. They go back to scratching on the pad again.
He chuckles to himself, and then he'll walk over and begin his work.
Go ahead and give me a intelligence and science or medicine roll. And this will count for the entire night's work activity.
Can I add a specialty of chemistry to this or no?
You know what? Sure. Yeah, because there's chemical ingredients involved in all of the process.
That is 4.
So as you go over the samples, most of them are clean. Most of them are pretty straightforward. Nothing really all that interesting to report, but you do denote a couple of samples that have interesting external features. For example, one of them has HPV. Another one has the traces of what look to be heroin in the blood. Someone has still managed to be using or scoring even when they were in confinement. Maybe it was one of yours, one of the loan shark vessels. But you work for hours testing the blood, making sure that it's clean, that it's capable as you were instructed. Do you use any of your other abilities during this process?
He will, for his own information, use Bloodhound. Not so
Okay.
much the other direction, but he will also use, if there is enough, Bloodwalk to ensure that none of these individuals had bonds of any kind, and that might still have bonds of any kind.
Okay. Well, let's have you make the roll for Bloodwalk. Which would be a rouse check to activate. And then a ritual roll.
So that's a fail for the rouse check, so he goes up one.
Okay. Let's see, what's... Okay, so intelligence and blood sorcery would be the test.
That's 2 successes.
No critical.
No.
Okay, so there are no kindred amidst this batch of blood, which is good, probably for the best. And you don't detect any signs of blood bonds amidst them. As far as the resonance, it's a variety. You get some melancholy, you get a lot of choleric blood, and maybe a little bit of sanguine.
He'll mark down what he can that he knows is concrete. He won't make any assumptions.
After you've worked for several hours, as soon as you finish your work and are prepared to hand over your findings, the lab assistant steps up, eyes downcast, and says, "I'll take those. I'll let Solomon know that the work's done."
Sure. Make a copy for me, would you?
Certainly. She
Sure. there's a
walks
printer
over
on
to
there
a
somewhere.
copying machine and puts it on and Xeroxes the copies and then hands you them. Thank you for your help. That really sped up the process. I appreciate it.
Of course, anytime.
As you prepare to depart, Avery calls from behind as you're leaving. "Don't get fleas."
Oh, sometimes it's just unavoidable. But thank you.
"Got it." And as you step out, the door shutting behind you, you can see that it's getting into the late evening, approaching morning. You've got more than enough time to get home, but also day isn't as much of a problem for you, so you don't have to rush. What are your thoughts after this encounter with Solomon, the work that you've done, and the assignment you've been given to deliver a dead body?
He's a bit on edge due to the amount of people in the room. After he just made a deal again for the second time with the same individual about secrecy, but he's got to have even the tiniest bit of faith for any of this to work. He is apprehensive about trusting the deal, as he didn't really trust it the first time, and it served him well so far. But the amount of information Solomon has at this point about him is undeniable and just simply cannot be pushed to the side. So he's done what he can for now, but he has plans to continue down this road as much as he can. Namely, first with this mission with Valentina. And he's going to be interested to see what Hakata have to bring to the table. This is the second family that he might be dealing with. So
How does August feel about the seeds of distrust he planted between Solomon and Jeremiah?
He knew it might happen. It's not like he didn't intend for it. There's a bit of intention there, but he also knows Solomon isn't so brash to ruin that relationship for the both of them. And it's a bit of a test as well to see what Solomon really will do when he's been slighted just the tiniest bit. He can assume what he'll do if there's a major mistake, but he needs to know what it looks like when something small has happened and where that leaves them. How much of a setback is it really for Solomon and Jeremiah? He has full confidence that Jeremiah can remedy this quote-unquote issue, but that sort of arrangement can be extremely dangerous, and he would rather be on the upper hand of that. So,
at what point does a deal with the devil just become a deal when you're surrounded by devils? This is where we go to break. We'll be back in just a few minutes with the second half of tonight's story. St. Petersburg by Night is brought to you through collaboration with our partnered vendors, Chromatic Creations, Panchi Artista, Ember Fox Dice, Champs Tramps, and Howl and Hop Tea. Links to our partnered vendors, as well as our Twitch and YouTube channels, can be found on our website, stpetebynight.com. You can follow St. Pete by Night on all socials with the hashtag St. Pete by Night. If you wish to support our programs, you can do so at ko-fi.com/St. Pete by Night to help keep the stories rolling. Welcome back. As we return, we find ourselves in the Waiting Owl once more. Another night, another performance. Because even the dead have to make a living. Now, Beau, as the performer in this particular instance, go ahead and roll me a charisma and performance check. And if you wish to use awe, you may do so.
Three successes and hunger increased.
Okay. So as you feel the beast once more clawing at your throat, the endless pit in your stomach like standing at the lip of an abyss, you look out the crowd of adoring fans, which has grown since the last of your performances. More and more people showing up. All you see is a cattle drive in front of you in this moment. All of them just filled to the brim with that delicious blood. Any one of them would be suitable in a pinch, but some are definitely more appealing than others. And as your eyes are carving across this stockyard, they go to the back booth where you see Solomon Creed, your benefactor, sat at the table. Doberman is also sat at the table, but is facing away from the stage, primarily focused on the door beyond Solomon. As the last notes of your song strum out, what are you performing as your last piece?
Too Sweet by Hosier.
As those final notes ring out, there are whoops and hollers from the crowd. Solomon just claps softly as his eyes are transfixed on you and the stage. Eventually, you come off your pedestal, your special, most comfortable place, and you're greeted by the adoring fans, some asking for autographs, some pushing for you to start selling music or putting it on Spotify. But eventually it's last call, because that's when you perform, just before last call, when they are at their most adoring and vulnerable. And as the crowds are ushered out by Ricky, eventually the establishment falls quiet. It's just you, Solomon, and Doberman left in the main dining area. Solomon raises up a couple of fingers and gestures for you to come over, and Doberman immediately gets out of the booth seat across from him and moves to stand behind him on the opposite side of the booth. In front of Solomon, he's got a whiskey glass that is still filled with 2 fingers of whiskey. Looks like they've been sitting there for a while. In fact, the ice cubes that are inside have melted pretty significantly, but he keeps swirling it around in his hand before pushing it off to the side and steepling his fingers in front of him as you sit. Hello, love. Good to see you.
It's good to see you as well. Sorry I'm not a bit more dressed up like I normally am. I would have if I'd known you were coming.
I find it's best to just drop in, and I had a moment, and I didn't want to miss the opportunity to see a performance. I don't get to hear you practicing around the homestead as much as I used to, so why not? And besides, you're looking comfortable.
Trying to be a bit more comfortable, so I'm not as hoity-toity as people might believe me to be as a performer, especially with the growing fan base.
Yes, it is in fact growing. I don't think I've seen this place as full the last time I was here, but you're making a name for yourself, aren't you?
I'm trying.
So how are things?
Things are, well, just about normal for me. What about for you?
Well, you know, the wheels of time are always turning, and business is growing. Well, I figured I'd stop by and see a performance before I become too busy to do so. You look unburdened.
I might be a little bit.
Feeling lighter?
You could say that.
That's good. Does that mean you'll be coming home then?
There's a little twinge in their face at the word home. Still that feeling from Talia whenever she would call whatever that trap was home. If you'd like me to, I can come back.
I don't want it to be an inconvenience for you. I just figured I'd let you know that the offer is always available. While this place is well, comfortable. Not the level of decadence as my place is. And I feel like you deserve no less than the most decadent of surroundings.
I was never really fully used to decadence.
You're a rising star, Beau Walker. Your name's gonna be heralded in the streets soon enough. You're gonna have to get used to a certain level of excess.
That's a future problem, and that's something I can deal with in the future. But for now, this is as close to my family as I can be right now.
Why is it a problem?
Sorry, wrong button. Fancy just feels uncomfortable. All of the different fabrics and it's suffocating, but down home, simple, no motion to themselves. It's comfortable. Comfort. What's the use of being famous if you can't be comfortable?
Couldn't agree more. And when you're the star, you make the rules. What's decadent to you, what's luxurious and enjoyable, might be different than what it is for me, but you're no less deserving of it. What do you want? What is it you truly desire?
In this moment, or like further down the road?
Why not both?
Right now, I'd give just about anything to get to see my family again, live one day as if it were normal with them. Down the road,
Is that right?
I'd like.
You know I'm a problem solver. If there's something you require, I'm happy to make it possible. And I can most certainly do that. That is small potatoes, as they say.
Yeah, but you also know why I can't do that, Solomon.
Can't or won't.
That was a massive breach in the Masquerade. They don't even know I exist anymore because of it.
But what if they could? Just for a moment. See, I pride myself on being a problem solver, but I can often be a miracle worker as well. I solved the first problem. Who's to say I can't solve the second?
I appreciate the offer, but I'd like to settle that first debt before talking about things that might get me even more in debt.
Well, what if we made an arrangement? A non-problematic arrangement. You're worried about debts. Let's just say I have a vested interest in your rise to fame. Allow me to be your manager, and I'll make sure you get whatever it is you want.
What's got you so interested in being my manager?
I know talent when I see it, and you're clearly bringing an external crowd to our neighborhood, which is good for business. Besides, you can't beat that face of yours. It's a good look for the barony.
They'll lean back in their seat. Kind of mull it over. And there's that inner voice again. We could see Ma. We could see Beth. We could see them all. Yeah, Beau, but at what cost? Alright. You at least have my interest.
Well, I don't need an answer tonight, and I didn't even come here to talk business. I just can't help but seize an opportunity when it presents itself. You're very talented, and you have a southern charm and appeal that works well in places like this. And I'm sure, as you know, our little piece of the pie is still quite small. I seek to make it larger, and with your help, I can.
So, because now you got my mind on this, you get to be my manager, and in a way, you get a face, a spokesperson. And in return, I just get a moment with my family? That seems a little more weight in your favor.
That's why I asked, my dear, what it is you desire. Do you desire more than a moment? Because I can give you that.
I'd love to have my family back.
Then ask for it.
In exchange for being your spokesperson and you being my manager, you'd really be willing to give me my family back.
With a few changes of name, few documents shifted around, I can give you your family back.
You mean embracing them?
Certainly not. I mean, moving them. Moving them here, in fact, closer to home. Changing a few of their government IDs. Setting up a few safeguards. You could have them back.
And what about Tyler? He invested so many years of college just to run the farm properly.
There's nothing saying he can't. Maybe even a bigger farm. This is what being a kindred is, Beau. We don't wait for the things we want. We make it happen.
And being your spokesperson, is that gonna put me at odds with the rest of the coterie?
Why should it? And besides, I wouldn't call it being a spokesperson as much as being a draw, an appeal, a finer face to everything that happens in the area. I know Jeremiah has a vested interest in the politics of it all, but it's not always about politics. There's a lot more that tangles its way up into these situations. He's got a very political mind, but yours is more for the social aspect, the everyday person aspect. I need both if we're going to do what I wish to do. And trust me, it's a lot safer here than it is out there. I think you know that.
Yeah. All right. They'll hold out their left hand. This time, instead of the normal ring from Talia, it's a ring of colorful flowers made out of tiny beads. No, hold out their hand for a shake. I think you got yourself a deal.
Excellent. He takes your hand, giving it a shake. I'll start making preparations, arrangements for your family to be transported safely and unharmed, I assure you. And once I have them settled, I'll let you know where they are.
Thank you.
You are a star. But in this life, in this world, it's a very competitive position to be in, and there will be those who seek to take away your glow. As long as you and I stay on the same page, and you tell me if there's anything that I need to be worried about, I can keep you shining. If that's what you want, of course.
I'd say it is. For now, at least. The as much as I talked about the feeling weird about the decadence of it all, there is an intoxicating appeal to it.
They wouldn't call it the limelight if there wasn't an appeal.
And speaking of things that might be a problem, well, not so much a problem anymore, but Talia's sniffing around again.
Of course she is. It was only a matter of time. How are you feeling about the whole matter?
Calm. I was nervous at first and rightfully scared. The pull was strong, but I don't feel it anymore.
Is that right? Well, good. It looks good on you. Like I said, you seem lighter. You seem unburdened. As for Talia, I wouldn't worry too terribly about her. As long as you stay here, stay safe, I'll make sure she doesn't get her claws in you again. How are things going with the coterie?
August is being August. Val's looking a little more stressed than normal. And Jeremiah's doing his thing. He asked me to help out with speaking to Mr. DeLeon, being a fellow Rose.
And an artist, no less. De Leon, from what I've gathered, is well, he understands decadence as well. Surrounds himself with the finest things. I wouldn't be surprised if he tries to persuade you to relocate. Don't let him.
I won't let him, but hopefully we can try to sway him our way.
Well, you have great many tools at your disposal, as does Jeremiah. Use them effectively, and maybe we'll get a friendship out of the deal. What do you think of Jeremiah?
He's ambitious. Definitely goes about it a very different way than I've seen August try to do. He's real nice. Good shot. And has helped me get a little bit better with my aim.
Should I be jealous? There's a smile you have when you talk about Jeremiah that you don't have with any of the others.
Damn, I'm easy to read.
I've made a profession of it.
I mean, I'm only jealous if you like me in more of a working relationship way.
If it makes you as happy as you seem to be, I would never want to stand in the way of something like that. Besides, such connections are so few and far between in this life. You always have to be suspicious, watching out paranoid, worried. You have someone that you feel you can genuinely trust and they genuinely trust you. That's something to keep close. Something to hold on to with everything you've got. Until it no longer makes you happy, at least.
He does make me happy. For what it's worth.
Good. You deserve to be happy. As does he. I hope that you can further solidify that connection. As for August, I think you can give him a break. He's ambitious, sure, and may seem reckless often, but he has a knack for this business. He's a valuable asset to your coterie. One that's worth preserving and protecting. He knows this trade very well. Better than any of your other coterie mates. So don't be afraid to use that charm that you have to endear him to you. Because I don't need him straying elsewhere. You said that Valentina was looking frustrated. Why do you think that is?
I don't know. I think partially is part of it is me being an extra body in the bar when there wasn't before. The logistics of having another person just adds to everything else.
Especially another one that might just grab you and drink you dry if they have the urge.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe I should come back.
My door is always open to you.
I don't want her to be living in fear, because I'm next door.
I have a job for you. I need you to find out if she's ready for the change. Truly ready. You know what you have to give up to go into this life. You know what it costs. Or at least have a bit of a notion. You know also the entanglement that comes with the change. Comes with the embrace. The servitude for months, if not years after. I want to ensure that the transition for her is as seamless and unproblematic as possible. But I need to know that she's ready and isn't going to just become another problem to be dealt with. And you seem like a good judge of character. Perhaps you can find out for me.
I will.
Now this is very important. I don't want her knowing I'm asking. Because then she might get overly eager to impress, and that's not a very good way of spotting any issues that they may have if they're putting on their best face. You get me?
I get you.
I appreciate you. I know it's what she wants. And I know it would benefit all of you if it's done the right way. So I just want to be sure.
I understand.
Wonderful. Well, it's getting late. Is there anything you wanted to talk about before I go?
I can't. Well, I have one random question.
Fire away.
Do you have a favorite song?
Favorite song? You know, there's a... I suppose you could call it a shanty. The Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald. You heard of it?
I can't say that I have, but I have means of looking it up.
I'd love to hear you perform it. I think it is perfectly within your vocal range, and I know you'll add a bit of flair to it.
I already read my intentions of asking.
Oh, good. As I said, I'll start making arrangements for your family, and you can do me that favor of checking in on Valentina. I'll be very grateful.
Of course, and I'll be moving back within the week. Likely after I check in with Val.
I'll make sure the linens are changed and everything is ready for your arrival. Besides, I think decadence will suit you nicely. With that, he goes to slide out of the booth, offering out a hand for yours.
Beau will take his hand and stand up.
He'll lean over and kiss the top of your hand. I'll see you soon, all right? Stay safe.
I'll see you soon, and I'll stay as safe as I can be.
With that, he turns and heads out of the bar, Doberman falling in behind like any good guard dog does. What is Beau feeling now?
There's an excitement. They haven't seen their family in so long, and the thought of them being so close is something that they never thought they would have ever again. Not after the accident. The incident when they lost control. There's also a nagging in the back of their mind of what this deal really means. But they quell that nagging for now and focus on this moment. Their family close, what they'd say to them after so long.
Happiness, like connections, like loyalty, is a commodity as well for the Kindred. Because the older you get, the more the luster, the shine wears off. That downward spiral, that descent, that loss of humanity, it's inevitable for Kindred especially. So when an opportunity presents itself to grasp what's left of it, can often mean making a deal we may or may not live to regret. But all he wants is your happiness, so how bad could it really be? We transition now to our final scene of the evening, where a young thin blood and a ghoul execute the mission they've been given. August and Valentina, you have been given a very special task by Solomon. To the van that is now yours was delivered a box similar to the last box that was delivered to you. But there's one very glaring difference. There's a smell. And it's not a pleasant, appealing smell to those with the finely tuned senses of the last one. No, this one has a smell of death, decay, rigor mortis, if it could have a smell. What you've been delivered is a corpse in a box with the instructions to take it to a funeral home just outside of the territory. A new client awaiting your arrival. Now, it's a simple enough job, an easy enough mission. Take the box, drop it off at the funeral parlor, go home. But as we've learned, these jobs are never as easy as they seem. The last one got at least one of you tangled up in a mess of trouble. Damocles' blade hanging over their head. But also, this one provides a very interesting opportunity. Because the Hecata and the La Sombra have something in common. A touch of oblivion. So, you've taken the van, you've driven to the address, and you find a very quaint funeral home. Lanterns hung outside ornamentally, burning with a dull glow that's meant to look like candlelight. The two of you sit within the van, the box in the back. You have a moment to yourselves before you decide to meet this new client of Solomon Creed. The scene is yours.
Was there a reason why it's just us two?
August looks up from a very ornate looking pocket watch that's been attached to his vest. He clicks it closed and puts it into a front pocket in his vest. Yes. Any ideas? Or you just want me to spoil it for you?
Honestly, I'd rather you just tell me. I'm not a big fan of these games that you like to play.
Solomon has a vested interest, you could say, and understanding what's going through the minds of the coterie he is lording over.
So it's a test?
It's a test, it's a business deal, all of the above.
All right, well, um, take the lead, because they'll probably have a better, I don't know, probably have a better interaction with you.
We'll see about that now, won't we? Listen, be on your guard. I know you will be. It's a habit of yours that I enjoy. But these are similar to clan ministry, a family. They go beyond just a sect. If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Anyways, it stinks in here. And he'll
Yeah, that's...
go out and open back doors and begin approaching.
As you're opening the back of the van, the front door of the funeral home slowly creaks its way open. And in the doorway stands a very thin man wearing a plain gray suit, nothing special or fancy about it, thinning hair atop his head, an almost skeletal visage, as he is very thin, has sallow cheeks and sunken eyes. Roll me a wits and either investigation or awareness, both of you.
Which one are you gonna do?
I'll do awareness.
Okay.
Three successes for Valentina.
It's one success.
One success for August. August, you are pretty laser focused on this mission. You know there's a present waiting for you, however ominous that sounds, from Solomon on successful completion of this mission. So you are on task. There is a cart on wheels that is brought out by a couple of other individuals that seem to work for the funeral home, all dressed in similar suits, though theirs are black, and they're rather nondescript features as they wheel out almost like a gurney or a cart for transporting boxes, and they help unload the box onto the cart before wheeling it in front of the funeral home, where the older man reaches down and opens the box and looks inside. He then gives a slow nod and closes it and looks to both of you.
I assume everything is to your liking?
It is. I was told. He reaches into his pocket, and at this point, Valentina, you catch a small detail, which is a handkerchief or a pocket square that's sticking out of his breast pocket. But what catches your eye isn't the pocket square itself, but the embroidery on the pocket square. A very stylized V with a little bit of almost Victorian flair to the box that surrounds it and to the embroidery itself. He then pulls out an envelope. And on the front of the envelope, it says, "Upon delivery, give this to the young man." He holds out the envelope to you.
He'll take it.
Thank you for delivering this. I suspect it won't be the last time. But you have my gratitude. And the two assistants in the dark-colored suits wheel the box into the funeral home. What are your names?
They call me Augustus.
He nods slowly. And you?
Valentina?
My name is Antonio Giovanni. It is a pleasure to make your acquaintance.
And yours as well, sir.
Please don't hesitate to let me know if you need anything disposed of. This is a part of the arrangement I have with Mr. Creed. If you find yourself with a body, I'll be happy to see it dealt with.
Most generous offer. I'll be sure to pass it along.
The services are paid for with continued delivery. He then bows his head in a nod. If there is nothing further, I bid you both good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening, Antonio.
He turns and walks in an almost funeral procession up the walk and into the building once more, the heavy wooden door almost creaking slowly as it closes behind him, thudding as it connects with the other door, leaving the two of you in the parking lot. Mission's done. In August, you have an envelope.
We should leave immediately.
I agree.
He
Val.
hurriedly moves to the passenger side door.
Okay. As you hop in and start driving away, the funeral home falling into the distance of the rear view mirror. Is there anything you wish to say to each other, or is that it?
He will begin opening the letter and reading it as they drive away.
What you open isn't a letter, but a page of yellowed manuscript. It looks like it's been folded very, very carefully. Because if mishandled, it looks like it would almost deteriorate in your hands. There's a tear along the edge as if it's been removed from a book or a tome. But at the top, it says, enrich. And what follows are the instructions for a rite. A Tremere rite that will allow you to increase the potency of a vessel's blood. And inside of the envelope is another piece of paper that looks much more modern, much cleaner, crisper. And it's just a single slip that says, this should be good for business and make you far more useful. Signed, Solomon.
August very gingerly takes the paper, reaches back to the back seat and pulls out his case that he brings with him, and opens the leather flap of the case and finds a place to gingerly place this old piece of paper for safekeeping.
So you now have the ritual Enrich the Blood available to you when you are able to buy it, but you have everything you need to be able to learn the ritual from this piece of paper. Valentina, what are you doing as he is gingerly dealing with this yellowed piece of paper?
Valentina's just driving us back towards the bar, and right around the time he pulls out his little suitcase to put it away into a safe spot. Something useful?
Something we will not speak of ever again, but yes, extremely useful for someone of my skill set. And I'm asking, by the way. I'm not telling. Keep this between us.
Yeah, I can do that.
Good.
Valentina, when you were in the presence of that man, this Antonio Giovanni, it felt so cold, but also comforting and familiar at the same time. Reminiscent of a time that felt safe. You felt owned, but also you felt all of the potential in the dark. It's similar, not the same, but similar, the feeling that you get in the presence of this man. The feeling of emptiness, which is strangely terrifying and comforting all at the same time. Like standing at the gates of a void, ever expansive, a void that knows no judgment, doesn't care that you're a ghoul, doesn't care who or what you are. It just pulls you in, wraps you up. There is no fear, no worry, no doubt. There is only the void. And it could be yours. But you quickly shove that thought aside, because this is the second time in as many days that temptation has been right in front of you, tickling at your throat. Secrets are no fun. Secrets are for everyone. And tonight, this coterie has had plenty of secrets. Gained, lost, shared. Secrets can cause division. They can also bring individuals closer together. Which will it be for you? This is where our story comes to a close this evening, but not without one last scene. In our final scene, the darkness continues. Dark and empty. It seems like it could go on forever if you didn't know how to wield it. And Athame knows just how to wield it. As she pulls the darkness away, letting it melt like paint or candle wax dripping down. And as she pulls it back, it reveals the same box that was delivered to the funeral home. She looks appraisingly over its contents before looking up at Antonio Giovanni. Very good work, Mr. Giovanni. Consider our debt paid. She then opens the box, reaches inside, and tears the shadow away from the corpse. Then as she releases it, the silhouette of a shadow of a person casts upon the wall. She looks to the shadow and says, "Follow her, watch her, bring her to me." And then with a whisk of her hand, the shadow darts underneath the doorway and out into the night to be unobserved and unseen. And this is where our story comes to a close. Thank you so much to these amazing players. Thank you to everybody watching at home. Go follow St. Pete by Night on all of that social media you see down at the bottom, and come join our Ko-fi and become a member for as low as $5 a month, and you can get access to all kinds of behind the scenes. I swear you were frozen for a minute there, Ace. That was amazing. You can get access to all kinds of behind the scenes material, such as the Rosebud Thorns for this very session, as well as all of our other programs and much, much more. So go join that Ko-fi and help support this channel and this program and all of our programs and our community. And we really, really appreciate it. Coming up, we have an episode of Rage Across Tampa. In fact, episode 100 of Rage Across Tampa, where the pack heads into the dreaming. And then we've got an episode of Hellhounds. Let's see how all that goes after everything that happened in Michigan, and then come right back here for Red Tide Rising next week. For these amazing players, I'm Kent. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time. Have a good evening, everyone. This has been a St. Petersburg by Night production, produced in agreement with the World of Darkness and Dark Pack. Visit our website at stpetebynight.com for more information about all of our productions and how you can become part of our community. Thank you for listening, and until next time, fangs, stakes, and claws out.